Welcome to Crime Cipher, where the shadows of history come to life. Today, we're diving deep into the untold story of Carlo Gambino, the quiet mastermind who became one of the most feared and respected mafia bosses in American history. Forget what you think you know about mobsters. This is a story of silence, strategy, and pure power. If you're into true crime, mob history, and real underworld legends, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. In the world of organized crime, few names carry as much weight as Carlo Gambino. Often underestimated due to his quiet demeanor, once mockingly referred to by Joe Bonanno as a squirrel of a man, Gambino defied the typical image of a violent mobster. He relied not on brute force, but on silence, strategy, and patience. His rise to become one of the most powerful mafia bosses in American history is a story of intelligence, foresight, and control. Early life and immigration. Carlo Gambino was born in Palermo, Sicily, around August or September of 1902. He grew up surrounded by mafia influence, absorbing lessons in loyalty, power, and survival in a violent and secretive world. At 19, he was smuggled into the United States, hidden among crates of lemons and olive oil. His connections spared him the hardships many immigrants faced. He arrived in New York in 1921 and quickly adapted to the harsh world of American organized crime. Rise through the ranks. During Prohibition, Gambino worked under Mafia boss Giuseppe "Joe the Boss" Masseria. Prohibition, in many ways, gave rise to the American Mafia, providing wealth and power that fueled its expansion. Gambino became involved in bootlegging and formed crucial alliances during violent turf wars, especially during the Castellammarese War. After the deaths of Masseria and Maranzano, orchestrated by Lucky Luciano, Gambino began rising within the Mangano crime family. In 1937, at age 35, Gambino was arrested and convicted of tax evasion. He served just 22 months in prison, his only significant jail time. This low profile would become a hallmark of his career. He avoided attention, remained cautious, and steadily expanded his influence. Taking power. The 1940s brought further opportunity. During World War II, with law enforcement distracted, the Mafia thrived. But internal tensions escalated. In 1951, the Mangano brothers, Vincent and Philip, were murdered, paving the way for Gambino to climb higher. Although Albert Anastasia became boss, Gambino remained patient despite being disrespected by Anastasia. His moment came on October 25, 1957, when Anastasia was assassinated in a Manhattan barbershop. This cleared the path for Gambino to take control of the family. As boss, he emphasized discretion and businesslike operations, minimizing violence and drawing less attention from law enforcement. Still with me? That means you're hooked. Hit subscribe to Crime Cipher so you don't miss what's coming next, because the underworld only gets darker from here. What would you have done in Gambino's place? Drop a comment if you'd wait patiently in the shadows, or a subscribe if you'd strike first and force your way to the top. Let us know. We feature standout comments in the next episode. Leadership style. Gambino's leadership was built on long-term vision. He expanded operations at JFK Airport, developed smuggling routes, and invested in legitimate businesses as fronts for his criminal activities. His ability to maintain a dual identity, mob boss and businessman, kept him under the radar. He also built strategic alliances. When rival boss Joe Bonanno plotted to assassinate both Gambino and Thomas Lucchese, it was Joe Colombo, then a Bonanno underling, who tipped them off. As a reward, Gambino and the Commission gave Colombo his own family, birthing the Colombo crime family. Here at Crime Cipher, we don't just cover crime, we decode power. These next few minutes might say more about how the world works than any textbook. Lessons from Gambino's life. Gambino led the family from 1957 until his death in 1976. His leadership holds several key lessons. 1. Patience pays off. Gambino waited for the right moments. He knew when to act and when to hold back. This patience helped him outlast rivals and avoid costly mistakes. 2. Never underestimate the quiet ones. He wasn't flashy, he didn't draw attention, but that was his strength. The loudest person in the room is often not the smartest. Gambino understood that. 3. The power of networking. His rise was built on relationships. He forged connections that supported his ambitions and protected his position. 4. Adaptability in adversity. Whether navigating Prohibition, wartime, or internal Mafia wars, Gambino adapted. He pivoted when needed and always stayed one step ahead. 5. Staying true to principles. Even in a world defined by betrayal and violence, Gambino maintained a consistent code. He avoided unnecessary bloodshed and insisted on loyalty and structure. The end of an era. Gambino died of a heart attack in 1976 at his home in Massapequa, Long Island. By then, the landscape of organized crime was changing. The government had introduced the RICO Act, and federal pressure on the Mafia was intensifying. Gambino died just before this wave fully took hold. His strategic mind and low profile may have helped him survive. Even in that more dangerous legal climate, his controversial decision to name Paul Castellano as his successor set the stage for internal strife. Castellano's appointment was not well received, and it led to a coup by John Gotti, a move that brought the Gambino family into the spotlight and eventually to its downfall under law enforcement scrutiny. Carlo Gambino was a master of subtlety. He avoided the limelight, served only a short prison sentence, and led the most powerful crime family in America for nearly 2 decades. His style, quiet, deliberate, and disciplined, stood in stark contrast to later mob figures like John Gotti or Joe Colombo, who preferred media attention and public influence. Ultimately, Gambino's approach may have been the last, best model for how the Mafia could have endured longer in America. Next, we'll take a closer look at either Joe Colombo or Frank Costello. Both were dynamic figures in their own right. Carlo Gambino didn't rule with violence, he ruled with vision. His legacy still echoes in the underworld today, a blueprint for power that few have matched. Thanks for watching this deep dive into one of the most calculated and commanding figures in Mafia history. If this deep dive into Gambino's quiet empire intrigued you, smash like if you believe the smartest mobsters never make the news. Hit subscribe to unlock the next cipher in the underworld's playbook and tell us, who should we decode next? Joe Colombo or Frank Costello? Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and keep decoding the crime world with us. This is Crime Cipher.